صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. شو بسم الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. اللهم اجعل ما نقوله ونفعله خالصا لوجهك الكريم. إلهنا نعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عنا شهر رمضان أو يطلع الفجر من ليلتنا هذه ولك قبلنا ذنب أو تبعة تعذبنا عليها. هلا, before I start, is there any specific reason why we have a cinematic atmosphere, like lights off, وكذا? Alright, okay, Bismillah, no problem. Like we said yesterday, inshallah, we're going to start with the Iblis Shaitan series to understand our enemy. And today, the topic is Iblis and his reality as the leader of Shayateen. Alright, and we will speak about a bunch of things. The first one is the meaning of the word Shaitan. Then we'll speak about the difference between Shaitan and Iblis. Then we will speak about his real rank and position. If we compare him to Allah Azza wa Jal, where does he stand? And then we will speak about why does he even exist? Why did Allah Azza wa Jal even create him in the first place if he knows that he's going to give us a hard time? The first point that I would like to start off with is the meaning of the word shaitan, because it's really important to know the meanings of the words we say. I don't know if you saw the last reel that I posted about the meaning of the word Allah that we use every day multiple times, but we don't know the meaning. What does Allah mean? What does Subhanallah mean? We just use it, but we just don't know what it actually means. And there was blood shed back in the days because of conflicts that could have been solved if they just agreed on the same definition. Each party had a different understanding of the same word, and they shed blood because of that. A conflict was made because of that. So it's really important to question things and to know why we do what we do, and why we say what we say, and what it actually means. So I'm going to go into the definition of the word shaitan, because it's going to give us clarity. Okay? Everything I want to say in this series is for us to have a better understanding of our belief, our worldview. Allah, shaitan, Iblis, ourselves. Okay? So we're going to start off with the first one, the meaning of the word shaitan. And in Arabic, for us to know the meaning of a word, we take it back to its roots, to its origin. So the linguistics said that shaitan comes from the verb shatana. Some of them said the noon is from the word. Some of them said, no, the noon is not from the word. So they said the origin is shata. Others said shatana. I'm not going to go too deep into this yet. I'm just going to give you the end result. Anyway, so they said shatana means, I'm going to read it in Arabic and then read the English translation. They said هو الميل عن الحق والاستقامة وتحقق العوج والالتواء. And then they said والقول الجامع إن الشيطان لغة هو المائل المنحرف عن الحق. Okay, so in English they said the word shaitan, shatana, means to deviate from truth and righteousness. A deviation, انحراف عن الحق. So everything that is deviated from truth and righteousness, in Arabic language, you can call it shaitan. Okay, this is what the word shaitan means. And this is why they said the following as well. They said, الشيطان تطلق على الموجود المتمرد العاصي. So just one thing on the side. I purposely I take the intention to read them in Arabic and then in English for you guys to have some sort of familiarity with the English words. I can say them directly in English, with the Arabic words, I mean. I can say them directly in English, but I want you guys to have both, the Arabic and the English. So, they said, الشيطان تطلق على الموجود المتمرد العاصي إنسانا كان أو غير إنسان. So the term devil is given to any living being that is rebellious and disobedient, whether it is a human or non-human, both. وتعني أيضا الروح الشريرة البعيدة عن الحق. This term also refers to the evil or wicked soul that is far from truth. And this is why we call some people shaitan. Alright? We call those who kill innocent people, who kill innocent children, who bomb hospitals, shaitan. Just like how we call other people who are very honest, have good manners, are obedient, we call them angel. Like haida al-malak. Right? This is what we say. He's an angel. He's so a'il. What an angel. What a lovely person. But if somebody is evil, is bad, we call them shaitan. So it's more an attribute. It's a sifa that you give somebody. Because this is very important when we speak about Iblis and who he actually is. طيب. And also the Quran says it when he speaks about shayateen al-ins wal-jinn. Al-ins is insan. We call these, some people, shaitan. The Quran tells us وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. Because when we speak about the reality of Iblis, we will see that he's from the jinn. طيب. And that's why in some narrations the word shaitan is used for something that's evil, that's harmful in itself, like bacteria, okay, like other harmful things. They don't necessarily always mean with the word shaitan, Iblis. Okay? It is used for anything that could harm you, that is going to do harm to you. So I chose two narrations to share them with you in order for you to understand what I mean. Because sometimes we read narrations and we think, no, this doesn't make sense. Why do we have a narration like this? And then we stand, we take a look, and we're like, well, this actually doesn't make sense. So, khalas, we just leave the narration, we put it aside. But we don't know that this goes back to our ignorance, that our understanding is limited. We think shaitan means devil, Satan. But this is not what it means. So I chose two narrations to share them with you. روي عن الإمام جعفر بن محمد الصادق عليه السلام that he said, ولا يشرب من إذن الكوز ولا من كسره إن كان فيه فإنه مشرب الشيطان. The Imam is saying, do not drink water from the ear of a jug, the handle of a jug, or its broken part if there's any. If there's a broken part in it, don't drink from it. Why? Because it is the place from which Satan drinks. If somebody looks at this narration, he's going to think, شو shaitan is going to drink from this كيف it doesn't make sense, what's that? Okay? If we have the proper understanding, we say that what it actually means is that there might be bacteria, something harmful to you, something evil, not shaitan, the shaitan is going to come and drink from it. لا. This is one example. Another one, عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, that he said, لا يطولن أحدكم شاربه. Okay? Don't let it grow too much. فإن الشيطان يتخذه مخبأ يستتر به. In English, do not let your mustache grow long, for Satan makes it its hiding place and covers himself with it. If you read the narration without knowing that shaitan means something that's evil, that's harmful, which could be some microbes or bacteria, You might think, no, sure, shaitan's going to come hide in my mustache. It doesn't make sense. La, when you have the proper understanding, you say, all right, and no, it could be some bacteria, something evil that's going to harm me later in the future. Now you know. When you read these narrations, you should question yourself, not the narration. At first, you question yourself, you question your understanding, and then if you are somebody who has knowledge, who studied, who knows Arabic language, then you can question the narration. Not just read the narration and be like, la, I don't accept this narration. I don't take this narration. Tamam? Because most of the times, it's our mistake and our fault. So, at the same time, I'm not saying that each and every time you read a narration that speaks about shaitan, you come and say, Wallahi, it means bacteria, it means something harmful. No. But just keep in mind that sometimes you come across narrations and it could have another meaning. Not the one that you directly understand at first. Alright? This is the first point. This is the first point. The second point. What's the difference between Iblis and shaitan? Iblis, also known as Abu Murrah. Because you know we have people, Abu Ali, Abu Fatima, Abu Zahra, etc. Iblis in the narrations is known as Abu Murrah. Okay? He is the head of devils and shayateen. He's the leader of all shayateen. He's the leader of everything that's evil and falsehood. ماشي؟ طيب. And one of the great mufassirin, which is Sheikh Nasr Makarim Shirazi, in his tafsir al-Amthal, he says, وَالشَّيْطَانُ هُوَ كُلُّ مَوْجُودٍ مُؤْذٍ مُهْوٍ طَاغٍ مُتَمَرِّدٍ إِنسَانًا كَانَ أَمْ غَيْرَ إِنسَانٍ. And then he says, this is the important part, وَإِبْلِيسْ اسم الشيطان الذي أغوى آدم ويتربص هو وجنوده الدوائر بأبناء آدم دوما. Okay, so he's saying, and Iblis is the name of the devil who deceived Adam. Mish Iblis is shaitan, shaitan is Iblis, and that's it. No, Iblis is the name of the devil that deceived Adam. Because we will come to the conclusion that we have multiple shayateen. We have more than one shaitan. Al-Waswas al-Khannas that you read in Surah Al-Nas is somebody else. That's not Iblis. It's a shaitan, but it's a different shaitan. We will come across these narrations, inshallah. طيب. So we have multiple shayateen. Every shaitan has his mission. Every shaitan has his purpose. Just like how we have multiple angels. We have Jibreel alayhi salam. We have Israfil. We have Azrael alayhi salam. Azrael is a good man. Sah, he's the angel of death. But you should try and build a good relationship with him. Because at the end he has a sensitive mission, yani. Okay? He's going to come, take your soul. So you better have a good relationship with him. We have different angels. We have Ridwan, the guardian of the heavens, right? We have Malik. We have multiple angels. So do we have multiple devils. And each one has his important mission. طيب. If we look at Iblis, Iblis doesn't come for the small things. He doesn't care. Like small things, he will just send one of his soldiers. But he comes for the big things, for the important things. He says, he told us that he will be present himself. There's a long narration. I'm not going to read the whole narration, but just parts of it, where the narration says that once Musa alayhi salam was sitting. He was sitting and Iblis came to him with a hooded cloak. And he greeted him and he put his cloak down. He spoke with Nabi Musa. Nabi Musa spoke back. Anyway, they reached a point in the conversation where Nabi Musa told him the following. He told him, tell me about the sin which when Adam's son commits, you overpower him and get the better of him. So he asked him, tell me. Iblis said, when he becomes conceited or concited and regards his good deeds as too many. He thinks, alhamdulillah, I did well. I read Quran today, I prayed, I did this, I gave charity, I did so many things, I'm good. and when his own sins seem small or insignificant to him. Because we have this problem. You go, you commit a sin, like, oh, I did it. But if somebody else commits the same sin, Allahu Akbar. What did he do? He did this? How did he do that? We see other people's sin as huge, as massive, as big. Look what he did, astaghfirullah. But when you commit it, it's like, may Allah khair. It happens, you know, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, and life goes on. So Iblis is saying that when man sees his deeds as many and as good, and he sees his sins as small, this is where he comes to you. Like, what happens then? Then he said, O Musa, never stay alone with a woman who is not permissible for you, yani who is not halal to you. For no man ever stays alone with a woman not halal to him, except that I personally, Iblis himself, the leader, the head, stay with them rather than my companions. In Arabic, I want to read it in Arabic, where he says, يا موسى لا تخلو بامرأة لا تحل لك فإنه لا يخلو رجل بامرأة لا تحل له إلا كنت صاحبه دون أصحابي. I will tell the small devils to go away, to go aside. This is my mission. This needs a big man. So Iblis himself comes and tries to misguide you. This is the first thing he tells him. And then he tells him, and be careful when you give a covenant or pledge to God. For whenever a man pledges a vow or a covenant with God, I personally, not my companions, intervene between him and its fulfillment. And the third one, and when you intend to give charity, give it soon, give it quickly. For when a servant of God intends to give alms, I personally, not my colleagues, sit in between his intention and charity and prevent it. And this happens. You take the intention, khalas layt al-qadr, today I want to pay charity $500. And then as the guy comes with the machine, whatever, like, 500 is too much, actually I have something to do, let me just pay 200. And then you see, everyone's paying 100, let me just pay 100. Wallah, the machine says 50, khalas 50, that's it. He took you down. So Iblis is saying, when it comes to this, I personally take care of you. I don't send any of my soldiers. This is my mission. So what I want to say is, we have multiple shayateen, multiple satans, and Iblis is the head of them. طيب. So this narration makes it clear when he says, كُنْتُ صَاحِبَهُ دُونَ أَصْحَابِ. He comes personally. The one that took Adam out of heaven and paradise, he comes to us to misguide us. Another narration, which is beautiful as well, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, النظر سهم من سهام إبليس مسموم سهم من سهام إبليس مسموم وكم من نظرة أورثت حسرة طويلة. In English, looking an evil or wrong look is an arrow of the poisoned arrows of Iblis. And so many of such arrows cause regret for a long time. Because you know the Imam, which is a beautiful narration I came across a few months ago, the Imam is saying that the eye is the most or the least organ that is thankful to Allah Azza wa Jal. Because with your eye, you can commit so many sins and you cannot commit as much good obedient acts with your eye. So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, there is nothing in the body that gives thanks to God less than the eye. Less than the eye. But you do the greatest sins with your eye. So do not grant it its request, or it will distract you from the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal. The least organ you can worship Allah Azza wa Jal with is your eye. Everything else you use for wudu, for salah, you listen to Quran, you listen to knowledge, you gain knowledge, you say good words, you say bad words, but with your eye, do not grant it its request. So lower your gaze, because it is the most unthankful organ that you have. طيب. And Iblis uses your eye as his strongest weapon, because he knows that this is the organ which you can be the less obedient, the most less obedient to Allah Azza wa Jal. Alright, so he's saying, watch your eyes, because this is one of the strong weapons of Iblis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So in conclusion, we have multiple shayateen. Iblis is the head of the shayateen and the leader of them. The next point, which is very important, worldview wise, alright, his rank and his position. It's clear by now for everyone who reads the Quran that Iblis is from the jinn. He's not an angel. He reached the level of the angels. So when Allah Azza wa Jal spoke to the angels, he was with them, included in the command to prostrate to Adam, but he's not from the angels. Because the Quran says it clearly. In Surah Al-Kahf, verse 50, Allah tells us, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. So he's saying clearly that Shaitan is from the jinn and he did not prostrate. So he's not an angel. This is number one. Number two, we think, most people think, especially the youth maybe, that there's a battle going on, a conflict going on between Allah Azza wa Jal and Shaitan. And we will find out who's going to win. We know that Allah Azza wa Jal is going to win, but we think that there's a conflict. Okay? Like Batman Joker conflict. They're fighting each other, but we know that Allah is the stronger party and that He will win. But this is wrong. We might have taken this from, Tom and Jerry, cartoons, other things, and Allah, devil, they're fighting each other. But this is not how it is. And actually, in some cases, the Quran could give us this feeling that there's a conflict between Allah and Iblis, like a real conflict between them. Because in the Quran we read, وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. So he's saying, Hizbullah, the party of Allah. And then in other verses, in other ayat, we read the following, اسْتَحْوَذَ عَلَيْهِمُ الشَّيْطَانُ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ الشَّيْطَانِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ الشَّيْطَانِ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. So he's saying, the party of Allah, the party of Shaitan. Which could make it seem, we could get the feeling that there's a party of Allah, party of Shaitan, and they're fighting each other like a real fight. Okay? But this is not the case. Let me tell you why it's not the case. In reality, the Shaitan is one of the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. He's one of the manifestations of Allah Azza wa Jal. He's a creation that was created by Allah Azza wa Jal. He's a abd, he's a servant, just like me and you. He was created just like me and you. Everything he does, everything he's capable of, is because Allah Azza wa Jal allowed him to do so. Allah Azza wa Jal knows what he is going to do, and he allowed it. Because Iblis is in Allah's kingdom. He's not outside of Allah's kingdom. He will never be outside of Allah's kingdom. Allah Azza wa Jal, if He wanted to erase Iblis, He could erase him like that. He could stop him like that. It doesn't take any effort from Allah Azza wa Jal. So Iblis is a servant of Allah. Servant in the sense of he is a creation of Allah. He was created by Allah and he is under Allah. He's not on the same level as Allah Azza wa Jal. He's below Him. Okay, very important. So, because everything in existence is a manifestation of Allah Azza wa Jal. In Dua Kumail, we say, يَا مَنْ مَلَأَتْ أَسْمَاؤُهُ أَرْكَانَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah's manifestations and names are everywhere. Everything in existence is a manifestation of Allah Azza wa Jal. You could ask, how is Iblis a manifestation of Allah Azza wa Jal? For example, we have the name Al-Mudil. Al-Mudil. And that needs a manifestation. And Iblis is a good manifestation of the name Al-Mudil. Okay? I don't want to translate it with the misguider because it's not really accurate. They say degrader or abasser or something like that for the translation. Anyway, but Iblis, he is a creation of Allah. He's under Allah. He's under His will, under His command. And he's not really in a conflict with Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is why some Arafa, when it comes to Dua Tawassul that we read every Tuesday night, when we reach the part وَبِحُبِّكُمْ وَبِقُرْبِكُمْ أَرْجُو نَجَاةً مِنَ اللَّهِ. The normal understanding for this part is that with your closeness, with your love, I seek refuge from Allah Azza wa Jal. Like I ask Allah to give me najat and refuge and protection and help and salvation and whatever. Okay? Some Arafa, however, say that no, like with your love and closeness, I seek najat min Allah. I want to escape from Allah Azza wa Jal. Some Arafa say that. Like, what do they mean, escape from Allah? There's no real escape from Allah Azza wa Jal. Because in Dua Abi Hamza, we read and recite, Haribun minka ilayk. You escape from Allah towards Allah. There's no real escape to anyone else except Allah Azza wa Jal. So Haribun minka ilayk, they say, Haribun min ismihi al-mudil ila ismihi al-hadi. I escape from you to you. I escape from your punishment to your na'im, to your reward, to your good names. So they say that. So Iblis, he is a manifestation of that name. He's a manifestation of Al-Ism al-Mudil. He's a creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
طيب, because technically Iblis could be one of the best teachers for Tawheed. At the end of the day, he worshipped Allah 6,000 years. He reached a stage and a level that we might not be able to reach. So he could be a very good teacher of Tawheed. And in the Quran, the shaitan says it himself in Surah Al-Hashr, verse 16, when he says, كَمَثَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِذْ قَالَ لِلْإِنسَانِ كْفُرْ فَلَمَّا كَفَرَ قَالَ إِنِّي بَرِيءٌ مِّنْكَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. I fear Allah. Ajib. How? Some mufassirin, they say that is his khawf, is his fear a real fear, or is it just as istihza? Is he just making fun? That, oh yeah, I fear Allah, but I actually don't fear Him. They have different opinions and interpretations. However, what I want to take is that Iblis knows very well who Allah is, what Allah is capable of doing, and what He can do. So he's saying, إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. We will, inshallah, in the next lecture or the one after it, we will speak about how was Iblis able to disobey Allah Azza wa Jal, even though he reached the level that he reached. What gives me a guarantee that I will be able to succeed? Let's say I become the best believer, the best mu'min, everything. Who guarantees that I will end my life in a good way? This is why Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he was struck by Ibn Muljam, and when he knew khalas he's facing death, this is why he said at this point, Fustu wa Rabb al-Kaaba, khalas. It was over. He's like, I made it. Alright? Well, every one of us has a potential to be Iblis. Every one of us. The last point I want to mention, and then inshallah finish off, is why does he exist? Why does Iblis exist? And people come and ask like this: why did Allah Azza wa Jal create Iblis to misguide us? And the question is wrong. If you say the wrong question, if you ask the wrong question, you might not be able to give an answer. Let me tell you something about the wrong question concept. Wrong question concept. If somebody comes and tells you which brands of smartphones cures cancer, you will not be able to give a response because the question is wrong. Who told you that smartphones have the ability to cure cancer? If you sit and look for an answer and look into every single book and do your research, they will tell you like the question is invalid. It's not correct. You're asking the wrong question. If somebody comes and tells you, Wallah, which bag of chips will recharge my phone the fastest? Your question doesn't make sense. Your question is wrong in the first place. Don't ask this question. For God's sake, my teacher used to say in school in Germany, there's no dumb questions. There is. I say there is. If the question is so wrong, it is a dumb question. Okay? Still ask whatever question it is, but sometimes the question is asked in the wrong way, so you will not be able to reach the correct answer, the right answer. Who told you that Allah Azza wa Jal created Iblis to misguide us in the first place? Min al. Do you have proof, evidence? If you have, come forward and tell me. La, Allah Azza wa Jal didn't create Iblis to misguide us. Iblis was created. He's a jinn, just like any other jinn, and they have their own world, they have their own taklif, they have their own mission. And he worshipped, he did his takalif in a good way, apparently, until he reached the stage that he reached, and then, because he messed up, because he did something wrong, because he was disobedient, because everything that was inside came to outside, because he showed what he was hiding inside, then he failed, and then his mission became to misguide us. وَإِلَّا Allah Azza wa Jal didn't create him to misguide us. Even though Allah knew he was going to mess up, and then he will be a source of misguidance, if we can say that in English. I don't know, sometimes I make up my own words, it's okay. I mean, there's no copyrights on languages, is there? So I just can make up my own language. You understand anyway. طيب. So, wrong question might not give you the right answer. Later on, his mission became to misguide us. طيب. صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
طيب. His later on evil existence is actually good. In the general overall picture, his evil existence is good for us. Because the good that you do is only good, and we give credit to it, by your ability to do as much evil. If you're not able to do anything that's evil, we don't give you credit for the good you do. If you only had one choice in life, we don't rate you for that one choice. Okay? If you're not capable of doing evil, your good is not as good as it should be. Imagine somebody just sitting at home, not leaving his house, not interacting with anyone, and every day he says, Alhamdulillah, today I didn't make a haram look. I didn't lie. I didn't steal. I didn't do anything bad. Habibi, because you're at home or you're in jail, you're by yourself. Aslan, you didn't have the chance to do anything bad or evil. But if you have the ability to do evil, and the more you have the ability to do a greater evil, if you choose not to do so and do good, this is what we respect and value. This is what we call good. But if you don't have the ability to do evil, aslan, we don't rate your good. And this is why the Quran tells us, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. We showed him both paths, the good and the evil. Also, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. We showed him both. You can be shakir, you can be kafur. If you choose by your own will to be good, to do good, alhamdulillah, we rate that, because you have the ability to do so much evil. This is why people in the West, they have a bigger struggle, but their reward is bigger. You all know what I'm speaking about. If you live in Qum or Iran or somewhere else, Iraq, it's easy. And you have less struggles, less problems. But here in the West, it's harder. Because you have the ability to do so much wrong, so much inhiraf, but if you choose to refrain from it and to abstain from it, alhamdulillah, we rate that way more. طيب. Let me give you a few examples and then inshallah finish off. If somebody, like I said, is being watched 24/7, okay, and he has a gun next to his head, and he's been watched all the time, and they tell him, and he wants to steal something, but he cannot steal it because he's being watched 24/7. And then somebody else who's not being watched, he has the ability to steal, but he chooses by his own free will not to steal. We respect that and we value that. Because for it to make sense, what I'm speaking, why is the devil's existence good? We have to zoom out. We have to look at the bigger picture. When we look at the bigger picture, it makes sense. If we zoom in, it won't make sense. Some people come and say, Allah Azza wa Jal is the most merciful. Why is there Jahannam? Why is there hell? Hell in itself is something that's ugly, that's evil, that's bad. Why would Allah Azza wa Jal, the most merciful, Ar-Rahma al-Wasi'ah, right, create hellfire? If you look at hellfire in itself, if you go present Islam to somebody and tell him, look at hellfire, he's going to tell you, what's this? He's going to tell you, brother, what's that? Why are you showing me hellfire? Okay? This is Islam. If you just zoom in into this point only, yeah, he will say, no, Saraha, it's ugly, it's not beautiful, it's not attractive to me. But we tell him, lahza, zoom out, look at Islam as a whole, and then look at hellfire, and then it's beautiful, and then it makes sense. Okay, just like a shadow. If you zoom in into a shadow on a picture, and all you see is black, that black in itself, there's no art in it. It's just ugly, it's just black. If you zoom out and you see that this black was a shadow in a picture, you will see its beauty, because a picture that has shadow is nicer than a picture without a shadow. Same thing with hellfire. We tell them, so many people enter paradise, enter Jannah, do good, because they are afraid of hellfire. So in the bigger picture, it's really good. Okay, because there's people who worship Allah because they are afraid of hellfire. There's people who worship Allah because they want to go to Jannah. And there's people like Imam Ali alayhi salam who worship Allah because he's worthy of being worshipped. Ibadatul ahrar, that we are far away from. Another easier example, okay? If you just, no one's going to buy a bathroom, just a bathroom, okay? Bathroom, I don't know what you call it in Australia, WC, washroom, hammam, whatever. Okay, no one's going to buy that on its own. Just, wallah, I own a bathroom, that's it. Okay, or even if you want to invite somebody over, tell them, wallah, come join me tonight, we have a Zahra in my bathroom. No one's going to come. They're going to be like, shuha, what's this guy telling me? Zahra in his bathroom? But at the same time, if you buy a house and there's a bathroom missing in it, you won't buy it. So the bathroom in itself is something that you wouldn't invite anyone to. But if you have a house, you invite them to your house. The bathroom in your house is beautiful, is amazing, it's a good relaxing spot. Okay? So the bathroom in the bigger picture is good. Shaitan, his existence, if you just look at him, is evil, is bad. But in the bigger picture, is necessary. His existence is good because he's allowing you to get the best out of yourself when you abstain and refrain from following him, when you abstain from following his footsteps, when you beat him, when you show him who you are, when you show him the warrior inside you, you can grow way bigger than if we just assumed that he wouldn't exist. This is what I wanted to speak about today. I hope that it's clear who the shaitan is, his real position, his real rank, and his relationship with Allah, what it is. This is what I care about. And that we have multiple shayateen. Each shaitan has his own mission. We will speak about al-waswas al-khannas, about other shayateen inshallah when the time comes, and what they do, because each shaitan has his own mission. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi al-tahirin.